Okay, welcome to the deep dive. We're going to be looking into the latest market moves, drawing from sources like Lotusbee Wealth's Market Digest for July 2nd, 2025. Our goal, as always, is really to pull out those key pieces of information, maybe the surprising stuff that helps us understand what's actually going on out there. So, jumping right in, the headlines today, they paint, well, quite a picture. You've got the S&P 500 closing strong, 6,222.49. It's pushing, towards those all-time highs again. And the Nasdaq Composite also looking very bright at 19,876.12 day. That really reflects the ongoing strength in tech, in AI names that we keep seeing.
That persistent theme.
Exactly. And even small caps, the Russell 2000, they caught a pretty significant bid up, plus 1.16%?
Yeah, that was notable.
Yeah.
Shows maybe some broadening interest.
Right. Maybe renewed appetite there. But
yeah.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. Well, you have some parts soaring tech. Crypto, there's this completely different thing happening elsewhere. A really stark contrast.
Absolutely, yeah. And what's fascinating, I think, is just the sheer divergence. Like you said, broad strength, tech, crypto, definitely strong, small caps picking up, but then, boom, a massive hit to specific sectors, particularly healthcare insurers. Just wow.
Healthcare insurers, okay.
Yeah, I mean, look at Centene. It cratered.
Yeah.
We're talking over 40% down.
40% after pulling guidance.
Exactly. They withdrew their earnings guidance, and that usually signals something pretty challenging is going on underneath.
Wow. Okay.
And it wasn't like just Centene either.
Yeah.
You saw Molina Healthcare, Elevance Health. They also had big double-digit losses.
Double digits, too.
Oh, yeah. Molina down nearly 22%, Elevance Health down almost 11%. So this isn't just, a blip for one or two stocks. It really points towards maybe some growing worries about medical costs rising, maybe potential regulation changes hitting profits. It's a very different story than the broader market feel.
That is fascinating. So it's like two separate narratives playing out at the same time. S&P pushing boundaries, but whole sectors facing, it sounds like, pretty fundamental issues.
That's a good way to put it, yeah.
So what does that divergence really tell us about the market right now when we sort of zoom out?
Well, it tells us things are really segmented. Even when the overall mood feels bullish, you can have these pockets of serious stress. So if we sort of summarize the key takeaways from the Lotusbee Wealth report,
yeah.
Yes, strong bullish momentum overall. S&P closing well above 6,220.
Okay.
And that was, fueled by tech leadership, as usual lately. Crypto surged too. Bitcoin broke that 109,597 resistance level pretty decisively.
Right. Bitcoin getting attention again.
Definitely. And Ethereum was up nearly 8%, plus that strong bid we saw for the small caps.
Okay, so lots of green arrows there.
Lots of green arrows. But that dramatic sell-off in the health insurers stands out as this major exception. It hints there might be some vulnerabilities under the surface, even with the good headlines.
Right, beneath the calm surface.
Exactly. And if you connect that to the bigger picture, look at the VIX, the volatility index. It's still pretty low, 16.80. It's just as calm, right?
Usually, yeah. Blue VIX means less fear.
Typically. But here's the kicker, and Lotusbee Wealth pointed this out. There's key economic data coming out this week. So the suggestion is maybe this calm won't last. We could actually see volatility pick up, and importantly, that means opportunity too, right, for those paying attention to these sector differences.
Okay, that makes sense. So let's bring it back to the listener. What does this all mean for you? I think this deep dive really highlights how markets aren't just one single story. They're complex, right? A collection of different narratives, sometimes completely opposite narratives happening all at once.
Very true.
Which leads to, I think, an important question for you to think about. In a market like this, where you see such dramatic, almost opposite moves, soaring tech on one hand, plummeting healthcare insurers on the other, how could really understanding those specific sector dynamics, how could that help you maybe spot the next trend or identify risks, maybe opportunities? The big headlines just gloss over. It's not just about up or down, right? It's about the why and what that might signal for what comes next. Something to chew on.